Hi everyone, welcome back to Yarn Over Matter. This is my knitting podcast. My name is Amy. I'm coming to you from Montreal, Canada. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season, whatever holidays you celebrate. I hope you got some time to rest. I certainly did, which is really nice because this is the first year, I think, the first holiday season where I've had quite a few days just to myself where I was able to recoup and recharge, and it was really needed and felt really good. So today, as you can see probably by the thumbnail, I'm going to be talking to you about what I made in 2025, because holy crap, it's already 2026. Can't believe it, but here we are. And yeah, at the end of last year, and also for my first video, I set a challenge for myself to try to finish up some whips in the month of December. So I think I posted that video around mid-December. So if you want to not have any spoilers and see if I was able to succeed my challenge, feel free to go check out that video. If I can figure out how to post it, I will tag it in here somewhere. Otherwise, yeah, let's just dive in. I've got my notes here because I have a terrible memory. So, thank you for your patience with that. And I figured I would structure-wise kind of talk about month over month, like starting with finished objects from the beginning of the year. Oh, and before we dive into that, just to talk about what I'm wearing, because this was not completed in 2025. This is my Zwag sweater by Caitlin Hunter. It was quite popular, I think 2018 or 19. That's when I started it. It was the second sweater I ever knit. It was a good lesson in learning about gauge and swatching and all that stuff, because I did not do that for this sweater. And there's a few things I would have done differently, but that's fine. We have the neckline's a little bit wide, and I feel like the gauge is more open than I would have liked it to be. But honestly, besides that, it is really comfortable. The yarn is beautiful. Unfortunately, I don't have it was hand dyed, but I wasn't keeping track back then, so I don't really have any of the information, and I don't think that dyer is making any yarn anymore. So that's that. Okay, so starting with January, I actually don't have this one with me. This year I made 4 gift knits. So I did 2 hats that I gifted to 2 different people and 2 sweaters. So there's 3 of the items three of those 4 items that I don't actually have to show. So I'll put up some pictures. The first one is the Magnolia Bloom by Camilla Vlad. That was a super popular pattern last year, and I believe the year before, and for good reason. It was a great, really engaging, fun pattern to knit up. And the one that I did was the original. So the gauge was really big. I made it in New to Din, and the color is Vix Plague, so it's a really beautiful light blue, and I held it double, and it was my first time ever using New to Din. I decided that I wanted to test it out on a sweater for a friend rather than to test it out for myself. I don't know why, but essentially my friend purchased a home like deep in the woods, like past Ottawa, and I was their housewarming gift. So I wanted her to have like a really beautiful cozy sweater. The winters are much colder and longer, and they get a lot more snow than here in Montreal. So I just thought it would be nice for her to have something to keep her warm. And I had enough yarn left over because I didn't understand, I'm still learning with New to Din. It is an unspun yarn. I'll probably talk about it more in future videos because I absolutely love it now. But I'm still trying to figure out, because it comes in plates that is, again, unspun. I'm just still trying to figure out how to figure out how much I will need for a project. So I purchased a lot thinking that I was going to need more than I did, which is fine because I have enough left for probably a sweater if I hold it single with something else for myself, and I was able to make a hat for her husband that matched. And I thought that would be really fun for them both to have kind of like a matchy moment. The hat I finished in February for her husband, my friend Pat. And I didn't follow any pattern for that. I used the decreases from the Musselburgh hat, and I used the gauge instructions from that pattern, but I didn't, that was it. That was all that I used from that. He has a bigger head than me, so I think I may have made it a little bit too big. But if he hands it, Pat, if you're watching this and if you want to send it back, I'll gladly reknit you one. But yeah, just going back to it, I didn't do the full tube. So the Musselburgh hat, you cast on, you do your increases, and then you knit like a really long tube. It's a very popular pattern. I'm sure you've seen it, so I won't go too much into detail. Instead of doing the whole tube, I just stopped at a length where I could fold the brim. I'll insert a photo. I think I only have one. It's not a great picture, but you know, there you go. That's what it looked like, and that's what I finished in the month of February. In April, I did not have any completed items, but sorry, in March I didn't have any completed items, but in April I did. This is where I finally finished my very first cardigan I ever knit. So this is the coffee cardigan. This is from Martine Jacobsen. And I love it. The reason why it took me about 8 months to knit, to be honest. But that's because of me. Something that I learned this year is that I'm not great at paying attention when it comes to reading. When it comes to reading a pattern flat. So I had to rip back and restart a few times. But the end product, honestly, I love it. I got quite a bit of wear of it in the spring, and then actually also I took it out and over the holidays I got quite a bit of wear for like with it, because I find it's a little bit, you can dress it up. The yarn, as I mentioned, I don't know if you'll see it, but the bling bling, there's some sparkles in it, so I feel like that makes it fancy. And it's warm, but it's not hot. I have the sleeves at at bracelet length. And I don't think I made any modifications. This is my first time doing a drop shoulder. This is my first time doing a cardigan. This is my first time doing, learning how to do a double knit neckband. So there's lots of learning on it. And honestly, I'm really proud of it because I love it. It looks great on. I'll insert some pictures of me wearing it. And yeah, the pattern was also, you know, I mentioned that I ripped back a couple of times. That was entirely me. That was user error. It was really well written, easy to follow. And I know that I think she has a series out of it. Like I think she has just like a pullover. It's also beautiful. Like I really love this stitch pattern, and you know, I'd probably knit it again, to be honest with you. Maybe not right now, but maybe one day in the future. So yeah, so that's my coffee cardigan. Next, the next finished item that I have is from July. It's my Rota top from Irene Lin. And this is really beautiful. This yarn, well, first let me talk about the pattern. So the pattern is super addicting stitch pattern. You cast on at the back and then you work your way down. Then you pick up for the shoulders. The shoulders, it's, I guess the ribbing like provides some structure, which is really nice. And then, yeah, you work in the pattern, and it's, as we say, potato chippy, because you go through a lace section and then you get kind of like that, the ribbing reprieve or like rest. And then you get to the next section, and it's really fun. I also made a few mistakes here. And I had to rip back a couple of times, but again, that was user error, and not paying attention. That happens a lot. You'll learn. But yeah, it was great. The only thing about the pattern is depending on what, like if you're printing it out, it's great because then you can kind of like highlight as you go. At the time I was using the app called Knit and Note, I believe. And a couple of times it lost my progress. The pattern is not in a chart, it's written out line by line. So just be aware of that if you prefer a chart. This one is not that, but yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful pattern. I saw another podcaster make a dress out of it, like that. So cool. I would definitely make this pattern again. The only thing, I would make it a little bit longer. It did come out short. My row gauge was short. And so I did add an extra section for the cropped version. In the pattern, there's cropped and long. And I didn't realize, because I didn't use the recommended yarn, I used a yarn from Lilien Biscuit. They have one that's called Granola, which is a base of hemp and merino. I think it's 70% hemp, 30% merino, which is awesome. Like the feel of this is really great, and I would definitely knit with that yarn again as well. But I think it's considered a sport weight, and the pattern calls for a DK. So I think that's where the gauge issue came from. But either way, I'm sure I'll still get a lot of use of it, out of it in the summer months. So yeah. Oh, and I didn't mention earlier, but everything, all the project pages will be linked below so that you can take a look if you have any questions or want to refer back to any of the colors or pattern or anything like that. Okay, so next was my Slipover-V. This is probably my favorite knit of the year. It's so easy to throw over absolutely everything. And I just love it. I love the yarn combination. It was my first time doing a V-neck in the round. This is, sorry, by PetiteKnits, if I didn't mention. And yeah, it's just a really, I think, great staple to have, especially here in Montreal, where it gets kind of cold earlier in the season. I really loved it. And I loved working on it. I don't know if that's just because, again, the gauge is a little bit bigger. I don't remember exactly what it is off the top of my head, but I've used a strand of Knitwear in the colorway Snare, which is like a beautiful forest green. And I combined that with one strand of Camaro's Midnight Soul. I hope that I'm pronouncing that right. And I think that color is Vincent. I will link it below. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not, to be honest with you. But honestly, the combination of these two yarns together is one of my favorites now. For some reason, whatever color of Knitwear you're looking, if you're, a Knitwear user or fan or whatnot, I find the colors within the range of colors within the Midnight Soul under Camaros, there's always seems to be a match for some reason. I don't know how. It's kind of like magic, but yeah. And then I was holding it up earlier, but like, look, it's so drapey and it's so light, but it's just as warm as you need it to be. Like I'm never overly hot, but I'm always warm and cozy. And I love it. It did, like, in terms of wear, this, as I mentioned, this is probably my most worn knit this year. It is pilling a bit, but it's not too bad. And to be honest, like, I don't mind depilling my knits. It doesn't bother me. So it's just part of the process. And, it hasn't gotten too bad where I find like it's not wearable ever. I think I've only depilled it once. So yeah, it's highly recommend the pattern. PetiteKnits, she's prolific. This was my first pattern from her though. I do like to try to diversify which patterns I'm trying. And minus Newton, because I've purchased a lot from them. I also do try to explore different yarns, and that's something that I'm also going to bring into 2026, is to continue to find different or new to me designers and different yarn combos to see what works best. So yeah, that's just a little side note. Okay, next we are into November. So I only finished one thing in November. I needed a bit of a break from garment knitting. I needed a quick fix. And here we have it. This is the City Walk hat. This is a free pattern. So again, it'll be linked below. The designer, sorry, is Celeste. Oh, I can't read my writing. So it's Celeste. I think it's Knitwear. Again, it'll be linked below. Please go ahead and take a look. She's got a ton. There's like, I think at least 20 different hat patterns. They're all free, all different stitch patterns. Yeah, it was, if you're new to hat knitting and you'd like to try something without committing to like any financial payment, I recommend. The yarn for this, yeah, and it fits really well, I find. So, you know, I started off, you did some ribbing. It's obviously a folded brim. What wasn't called for in the pattern was I always put a row of purling to help with the fold. So I did that as well here. And yeah, it's came out really well. The yarn was leftovers. One of my aunts like made a sweater for one of my cousins and it was leftover from that. So I don't know exactly what yarn it is. It's just stash yarn. And I held it with some Surrey alpaca that was left over from a gift knit that I made a friend years ago, and I don't have the information on that either, unfortunately. I'm very sorry. I did lose chicken, yarn chicken. As you can see, the top is a different color, but that's okay. It's fine. I find when I wear it, you can't, I mean, you can tell, but you can't really tell, you know? So it doesn't bother me that much. It's really nice and warm. The combination is soft. And this is the hat that I'm probably wearing the most this season. So yeah, highly recommend the pattern. All right, we're getting there. Okay, so that was everything up until December. And then if you've watched my previous video, you'll see that I challenged myself to finishing 5 works in progress between mid-December to the end of January. So within that, there was 2 gift knits and 3 sweaters for, well, 2 sweaters and a top for myself. I was not successful, but I didn't come too far. So, all right, let's get into it. So the first one is my Halibut sweater. Well, it's actually not mine. This is one of the gift knits. This is a sweater. I'll put up a picture of the finished object. It's very long. This was one of the gift knits for my brother. He's 6'4", so it was a lot of straight knitting. Sorry if I didn't mention the designer. This is, as I said, Halibut by Caitlin Hunter. I think so many people have knit this pattern this year. It's a beautiful pattern. It's really fun. I love how the fish all look like they're smiling. It feels whimsical, you know, like when I was knitting it, I would laugh to myself, you know, like I'm making my brother a sweater that has fish on it. Like, this is hilarious, you know? It's great. It's whimsical. The yarn that I used for this is Barocco Vintage Indigo for the navy blue. It's a beautiful navy blue color. It is a superwash yarn. I think there is some acrylic in it, and I've never used this base before, but I would use it again. It is a heavy garment though, compared to just all my pure wool ones. So something to consider for the future. But the gradient that I used for the fish, that's out of Cascade 220. They have a line that's called Wave that has a bunch of different gradients. It's super fun. If you are interested in checking that out, I would recommend. They've got a lot of really nice ones. And I have about a whole skein left. So I am thinking about making myself a matching one, except for using a different color as a base, like maybe like a light sand color or like a nice light cream. I think that would be really fun if we had really nerdy, but really fun if we had matching sweaters. I don't know, why not? Why not? So yeah, so this was the first one that was completed. So the first out of 5. Next is the ones actually that I don't have with me. They are the Kuura Mittens by Helena Jerome. Those are, I'll put a picture up. Another free pattern. This was the first pair of mittens that I had ever made, and it was a great experience. The yarn that I used was Knitwear. The same combination, the green is the same combination as my Weekender-V Slipover. And then the blue is the same blue that I used in the previous gift knits, along with a mohair that I had in stash. So the combination was great. The only difference is I held the Knitwear double for that because I wanted to be nice and thick. It does get cold here, so I wanted to be warm, which they are. And yeah, I'm a little bit jealous that I had to give them away. I think I'm going to make myself a pair as well because they are so they're so warm and cozy, and they were really easy to knit up. Like, I think it took me less than a day to knit one of them, so maybe 2 days total if you have that kind of luxury of time. And the pattern was really easy to follow, and again, it was free. So if you're not sure whether or not you'd like to have, you like to do knitting, like knitting mittens, and you don't want to commit to any financial purchases, well, I would highly recommend this one. Even if you do, don't mind paying for patterns, I would still recommend it because it's a good one. It's a really good one. Like I said, I want to make one for myself. Maybe I'll make some for myself next year. I just have to think about which color combination I'd like, which is always the fun part. Okay, I feel like I'm racing through all of this, but here we go. Next, the next one that I finished is my Miles jacket. I'm so happy that this one is done. When, again, earlier on when I started getting into Knitwear, that was like one of the very first things. It's like, I know I want a Miles jacket. I know I wanted a Knitwear. It took me a while to find the right color combination. At first, I had purchased like a darker purple to go with it, but I wasn't super happy with that color combination. So then I switched over to a brown, like a more brown color. So I'm kind of all over the place with this one. Let me dial it back for a second. So the Miles shirt jacket, this is from Ozetta. This is a pattern that's been knit so many times as well, and it's awesome. It's just, I wanted something that I could just throw over, if I'm going out to get my mail, or if I'm gonna go quickly to my car, I can just throw something over that's super warm, and just cozy around the house. What I love about this the most is the split hem. I don't know if I'll be able to show you very well, but it's not a split hem, sorry, it's a curved hem. That was the detail that drew me the most to this pattern, because I love that look and that style. And yeah, the pattern was great. It's a drop shoulder. You start at the back, and I don't know, you can see here. Yeah, you start at the back and you can increase, you do your increases, and then you're just kind of off to the races. You're knitting the rest flat, then you pick up for your arms, and then finally the neckband and the neck. This is the first time, oh, you can see my string there. This is the first time that I ever did a folded neckband. And it's not perfect, but it's not bad. You can tell a little bit on the back. I was off by 1 stitch at one point and I just kind of caught up or fixed it. The only modification that I did at all for this pattern is, I read in some of the comments that the neckline was a little bit floppy when it was done as intended according to with the pickup that was intended according to the pattern. And I knew that I wanted mine a little bit more structured. So it definitely sticks up. I think I'm going to try to reblock it again and pull it out a little bit, so that there is a little bit more give, but honestly, it doesn't bother me that much. And what else? I did in terms of the bind offs. So for the hem, I managed to do a sewn bind off for the hem and the sleeves, which turned out really well. And I'm really proud of myself because if you've knit with Knitwear before, you know that it breaks really easily, or I'm saying Knitwear, but it's any unspun yarn. It pulls and it breaks really easily. So doing the sewn bind off can be a bit of a challenge. But a trick that I learned, and I don't even know why I didn't think about this earlier, but I learned it on the last sleeve, but I'll share with you just in case, you know, you want to do sewn bind offs, but you don't have the patience to do it. I have circular needles, so I just changed the tip and I went down to like a really small one. So it would give a lot more space between the loop of the knit or the purl and where I'm trying to put my needle in. And honestly, the breakage was way less. It was so much like such a smooth experience that I think I'm even going to do that on like my regular, like normal spun yarn sweaters, because again, it was just like such a simple thing. And maybe I'm late to the game. I don't know if anybody else does this besides me. Let me know. Like, do you have any tricks to make your sewn bind offs an easier process? Do you downsize or do you not need to? Anyways, it was really a bit of a light bulb moment for me. The only place I did not do the sewn bind off is in the button band, but that was intentional because I like the edging, like the edge that it gave here, and I thought it would just be a nice kind of like frame to the sweater. So yeah, so that's my Miles jacket. I haven't gotten too much wear out of it yet. It was finished like on the 28th of December. So I haven't, like I said, I had a chance to block it, to put on the buttons. I haven't put on the pockets yet because I don't exactly know where I want them. So I've pinned them on a few times to try to kind of gauge exactly where I want them to sit. But I want to be sure before I sew them on. Yeah, because I don't want to have to redo that more than once. And then, so yeah, so those are all my completed items. Since then, just to go back to my December challenge, I'm almost done. So this got finished early this year, so it doesn't count. But this is my eyelet drop by Layla Raven, and this was knit up in Sonder Yarns Fleece and Flax in the colorway of Dirty Weekend, and the mohair that's held with is another one from Biscuit Yarns, I think is how it's said in English, and the color, their mohair is called Hermione, and it's in the color Bisque. So this is fresh off the needles. I won't talk about it more than that. I'll probably talk about it a little bit more in my like first official traditional type podcast, which isn't even going to be the next one, because the next time that I come to you, I will be talking to you about my plans for 2026. And yarns that I have for that already. So I'll be talking about this one and the one after that, which will be like a traditional podcast style of, you know, finished objects, works in progress, and so on. And so if you were counting, who knows, maybe you were, I had 5 from that challenge. 4 of those are done. The 5th one is my collet, which is not. So again, I'll talk more about that in the first podcast episode, which will be 2 from now. And yeah, it was actually really fun to challenge myself to finishing those, even though I didn't, you know, even though I still have a couple of left, a few finishing touches on one, and then finishing up my collet tee. It was really good to get those completed, and also to see like how much I was able to do, because okay, yes, I had time off at Christmas, but yeah, it felt good to just kind of complete the items and check them off my list. And I don't even think I'm gonna cast on anything new until I'm done my collet, because it has been on the needle since 2024, and I just really want to get it finished so that I can wear it. And but yeah, now I'm ranting. So if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. As I mentioned, my next episode is going to probably come out either next week or the week after. I'm just waiting for a package to arrive because I really want to show what my intentions are, but most of them I already have yarn. So I want to be able to kind of show that together and then kind of decide or make an action plan of which I'm going to tackle first. And do some swatches. So lots to look forward to. Again, thank you so much for being here and for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.